Capital One Venture Card, what's in your wallet? So the NBA has a return plan. The plan will be voted on later today. The vote will be expected to pass. So let us go over the details, shall we? 22 teams will resume the season in Orlando on July 31st. You got the top 8 in each conference, plus teams within 6 games of a playoff spot. That works out to 13 Western Conference teams, 9 Eastern Conference teams. Teams outside the top 8 that are included in this plan: Blazers, Pelicans, Kings, Spurs, Suns, and Wizards. And before the playoffs begin, each team will play 8 regular season games, and then there could be a possible play-in tournament for that 8th spot. All right, so there's a lot here. Nick, what's your reaction to the new format?
My reaction is I think somehow the NBA did something that I thought could be impossible. They might have threaded the needle here and found the fairest, best possible compromise on how to do this. Every single team that has even a 1% chance of making the playoffs under a regular 82-game format will be invited to this. You are giving legitimate advantage, as you should, earned advantage, to the teams who have accomplished the most over the first 60-some-odd games of the season. You are not making the end of the season just a total free-for-all where it's a 15 or 14-team tournament for the final seed. In fact, in all likelihood, we won't even have a tournament for the final seed, and if we do, it's just 2 teams, with the team that is in the 8th spot having a significant advantage where they just have to win 1 out of 2 as opposed to the other team, the 9th seed, having to win 2 out of 2, and it allows for jostling within the standings because, for example, you look at the West, 4, 5, 6 in the West are separated by a game. So the Rockets, who are, finished before the year shut down, they were in a bad spot. If they turn that around, they could go from 6 to 4 easily, which would drastically, obviously, change their first-round matchup, could change their playoff fortunes. And in the East, you have similar logjam in the middle part of the playoff bracket. So, Wilds, I had been critical about the NBA's ideas of a group stage and a giant play-in tournament. I love this. I think they nailed it, and I think it makes sense, and I don't think there's going to be many teams that can argue we got screwed here. I think it's the fairest possible outcome, Wilds.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused by it. I mean, I like it. A little bit of it, Broussard, reminds me of your friend who always has these grand plans like, hey, we should go to the Super Bowl every year, or we should take a big trip to Paris. And then it comes down to it, and it's just like, hey, I don't know, you just want to go out to dinner? This seems like the lamest plan out of all of them. It's fine. It's 22 teams, but they're from group stage and reseeding. I'm a little bit disappointed that I got teased with all these awesome options. The next step, Broussard, and we were talking about before the segment, is who are these teams playing? That's what I'm interested in, because I don't know. I'm looking for the fairest schedule. All of a sudden I became a Blazers fan, Broussard. I'm looking for the fairest schedule. And Memphis has to play the Bucks if they're on their schedule as is. But Memphis also gets to play the Pelicans twice. If they get to play the Pelicans twice and the Blazers only gets to play the Memphis once, I don't know what's exactly fair. So I'm interested to see the next step, how the NBA will schedule it. So all of a sudden, I'm a Blazers fan. My Blazers can sneak into the 9th spot.
Well, these are words that typically don't come out of my mouth, but I'm with Nick. I think Nick nailed it on the head. It's fair and it's right. I think, look, Wilds, you want a circus. You want chaos. You want Russian roulette. Hey, let's just, some of the proposals, my goodness. Forget the regular, make it an 8-game regular season, and let's just, forget the previous 65 games or whatever. This is the fairest way. I'm with you, Kevin, in that, hey, it would have been exciting to have a play-in for the 7th and 8th seed. Maybe a round robin for those last 2 seeds. That would have been exciting. Yeah, I mentioned March Madness when we talked about it a few days ago. But let's face it, that wouldn't have been fair to the Dallas Mavericks. If indeed they finish 7th, maybe they'll move up. But they were 10.5 games ahead of 9th-seeded Portland. For them to have to play in to get into the playoffs when they were great during the first 65 games or so wouldn't be fair. I'm with Nick, as I said. This is fair. Remember, They will play roughly 73 games each per team because teams have played roughly 65 games each. So if they add 8, that's 73. So that's still 9 games fewer than you play in a typical regular season. So the fact that if you're within 4 games of the A seed, you get to play, try to win in the play-in tournament, I think that's fair as well. I just think the NBA's done a very good job with it. And, Kevin, yeah, maybe some of these teams are going to face tougher competition than others.